Hello everyone, today I'll be analyzing a political cartoon created by Dave Granlund. Granlund's an award-winning editorial cartoonist who has worked for USA Today. He's known for his ironic and comedic commentary as well as his distinctive drawing style. This cartoon right here was published on September 26, 2025, the day that former FBI Director James Comey was indicted on federal charges. This controversial issue centers on whether the indictment of Comey was based on fair justice or politically motivated prosecution. The charges accuse Comey of making false statements and obstruction of justice related to his 2020 testimony on FBI's Trump-Russia investigation. President Trump had publicly demanded that Attorney General Pam Bondi prosecute Comey only days before he was indicted. The case was presented to the grand jury by Trump's former personal attorney, Lindsay Halligan. The situation raised widespread concerns about the weaponization of Trump and the Justice Department. Trump using the Justice Department as a weapon. I will now discuss the four key visual details that Granlund uses to convey his perspective on the situation. First, the symbolism objects, obviously deliberate. The bucket of wet concrete here that Comey stands in is a central symbol. He uses concrete sarcastically as well as with a double meaning to poke weakness at the legal evidence of Donald Trump. The concrete is visibly dripping down from the bucket, still wet, not solidified. This is crucial because it plays on the fact that real concrete evidence is supposed to be solid and unchangeable, but Granlund shows it to be unstable. Additionally, you could see that pieces are falling into the water, which is a literal representation of how the prosecutor's case is falling apart and can't support the weight of serious accusations. The bag labeled trumped up charges is another prominent symbolic object in this cartoon. Granlund's wordplay here is a known trumped up charges is a known idiom, which means fabricating or false charges. But here, cleverly also references Trump's name, creating a layered meaning that suggests that the charges are both about Trump and that they are falsified. The shovel held by Trump, which serves as a tool, commonly associated with digging or burying, which could reference Trump digging up old testimony to prosecute Comey, or maybe trying to bury Comey through prosecution. The shovel represents the power Trump wields through his use of the Justice Department to persecute his enemies. Secondly, Granlund uses exaggeration to effectively convey his message in a depiction of both figures. Trump's distinctive features, blonde hair, his facial expression, his smug and confident posture. Comey appears here to be mockingly asking about Trump's concrete evidence, adding to the weakness of the overall situation. Comey's figure here seems to be bound with rope, showing his powerlessness in this situation. Yet his facial expression shows not really defeat, but more just disappointment. The rope wrapped around Comey's torso emphasizes his vulnerability because of the fact that he's literally unable to defend himself. Thirdly, the drawing style and layout create layers of visual irony. Granlund uses traditional cartoon style with cross-hatching and bold lines. Comey, here, who should be the vulnerable one since he is physically restrained, appears to be defiant and actually mocking Trump, while Trump, who's supposed to be in a position of strength, appears to be unserious and weak. This shows that both figures know that these accusations are weak, as well as both of them standing on a rickety pier over perilous-looking water, which shows just the precariousness of this whole political situation. So let's go more into that pier and water. So they are actually used as visual metaphors. The pier here appears to be weathered and poorly maintained, seen through the splintering wood texture, the worn planks with visible cracks and deterioration, and the dark, ominous water below represents danger and the potential collapse of the entire situation. Using these visual metaphors, Granlund is suggesting that the prosecution is built on unstable ground and can be dangerous for everyone involved. Now, let's dive into the text elements in this cartoon. The speech balloon contains Comey's sarcastic question to Trump. So this is your concrete evidence, indicating sarcasm. Comey's bound in ropes, vulnerable, yet he is still mocking the evidence being used against him. Here you can see that Comey's directly challenging Trump's entire prosecution as weak, and he's basically asking, so this is the unstable material which you're basing criminal charges on. The bag labeled trumped up charges in capital letters here served as Granlund's most direct shot on Trump. The use of this idiom explicitly states that the charges against Comey are fabricated. Overall, the cartoon demonstrates a clear bias in favor of Comey, framing the prosecutions as illegitimate and built on unbacked evidence. In conclusion, Granlund's cartoon uses symbolism, visual irony, exaggeration, and metaphorical setting to critique the indictment of James Comey as an unjustified prosecution built on weak evidence.